All right, sorry about that. Camera messed up a little bit here. What I was trying to say is that the farmer only watered 3/8 of the field. He didn't even water half of it, but it was close to half because 3/8 is close to 4/8. So it's close to 50%. There's only one answer choice that's close to 50%, but you can still do it mathematically if you need to. 3/8 is the same thing as 3 divided by 8, which is 0.375. And if you take that decimal and change it to a percent, changing a decimal to a percent means moving the decimal place twice to the right, 37.5%. Okay? You can do it with equivalent fractions too. Divide 3 by 2 and get 1.5. Divide 8 by 2 and get 4. Multiply them both by 25, and you'll get 37.5 over 100, which is 37.5%. Not a lot of my students are going to understand this, but they should all understand this, and they should all know that 3/8 is close to 4/8, and 4/8 is half. So you can answer this question really and truly without doing a whole lot of math. Common sense is what you need to be using right here. Number 14 wants the dependent quantities in the graph. Every graph you ever see, label it dry, mix. Dry, dependent, y-axis, mix, independent, x-axis. It wants the dependent quantities. We want the dependent side. 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. There is no dotted zero, so it's not included. Answer choice F is what you want. 15 is really important. There's going to be a lot of questions that have you put rational numbers in order, and that's what this is. You can answer this question without doing any math if you will use common sense. Which list shows the names of the students in order from least to greatest? Just look at the numbers. 1.5 is exactly 1.5. 1 1/4 is exactly 1.125, which is less than 1.5. Okay? All of my students should have 1/4 memorized. All of my students should have 1/2 memorized. All of my students should have 2/3 memorized. 2/3 is 0.66, so 1 2/3 is 1.66666, repeating. So that's greater than half. That's exactly half. That's less than half. 1 7/12 is bigger than 1 6/12. 1 6/12 would be exactly half, so 1 7/12 is bigger. It's greater than half. That means the list has to start with Ryan. He's less than 1.5. He's the smallest number in the list. There's only 2 answer choices that start with Ryan. That information also means that Gus has to be second, because Gus is exactly 1.5 and the other 2 are bigger. There's only one list that starts with Ryan and has Gus second place. So common sense, you can answer that question. If you need to do it mathematically, 7/12 is 7 divided by 12, which is 0.58 something something something. So Jacob is 1.58 something, which puts him higher than Gus but less than Cole, which means that he's got to be third place, which he is here. So again, common sense can help you a lot. If you want to put fractions in order, you either have to have common denominators or change them to decimals. Whether you have that decimal memorized or whether you got to do division to do it, that's up to you. But we've worked on this so much this year. That is a question I expect us to get right. Number 16, every triangle has a total of 180 degrees. So if you have a missing degree and you want to know how much it is, then take 180, subtract out what you know, subtract out the other one that you know, and you're left with 19.5, or add the 2 you know together and then take all of that away from 180. 19.5 degrees is what's left over. That's the measure of angle F. We've practiced that a whole lot too. All right, that's it for this clip, guys. All the questions tonight, I think, were a lot easier. Maybe I skipped some. Hang on, let me see. I did. I skipped a few. So I'm not done yet. I thought I was. So kind of going out of order here. But anyway, let me finish this off. Number 12. A team of 4 players competed in a golf tournament. The names and scores are shown below. The team score is the sum of all their scores. The sum of all their scores. So sum means add. So add all their scores. negative 2 plus 3 plus negative 4 plus negative 1. So you got 2 negatives, 3 positives, 4 negatives, another negative. A negative and a positive make a 0 pair, another 0 pair, another 0 pair. You're left with 4 negatives. Same thing here. You got negative, 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 positive, positive, positive. These make a 0 pair, 0 pair, 0 pair, and you're left with 4 negatives. So the answer is negative 4. All right. Number 11. We need to get 12.5 pounds and change it to ounces. If you read that carefully, that's what it's wanting you to do. You need your formula chart. On your formula chart, you find out there is 16 ounces in every pound. You don't have 1 pound, you have 12.5. So I made a little table. 1 pound is 16 ounces. 2 pounds is 16 more, which is 32. So every time 16 more, we're multiplying by 16. Whatever pounds you have times 16, that's how many ounces you have. So you have 12.5 pounds. So multiply it by 16 and you'll get 200. Just follow the rule in the table. Don't forget to look at your formula chart when you need to change from one measurement to another. Number 10, you really have to just read. Mr. Smith has a maximum of $50 to spend. Maximum means the most he can spend is 50. That's it. He can't spend 51. He can't spend 52. He can't spend $50.02. He can spend 50 or less. That's it. Whatever he spends must be $50 or less. So less than or equal to 50, but no more. There's only one answer choice that has less than or equal to 50. This is greater than or equal to 50. No, he cannot go past 50. And this over here is, the problem with this is this is showing subtraction, because the story talks about a ticket to the museum is $7 and he can spend P dollars to buy other things. So 7 plus P, or P plus 7, the other things that he's buying. There's no subtraction in this story at all. So F and G are, neither one of them is correct. They don't fit the story. So use the vocabulary of maximum to let you know stop at 50 and no more. Okay? All right, that was number 10. And let's see if we can find number 9. There it is. Which two expressions are equivalent? We just want to know if this over here is equal to this on the other side. So you think about the other ways that it can be written. So 4 plus 3 times y is just 4 plus 3 times y. That's really about the best you can do. 4 and 3 in parentheses you can add. So that's 7 times y. 7 times y is obviously not the same as 4 plus 3. You cannot combine. You can combine them if they're both whole numbers, but this is not a whole number. It's a whole number and a variable. So that's the best you can do. Those are not equivalent. 18 divided by y plus 10 and 10 plus y divided by 18. This is pretty similar. The problem is you can do 18 times y and y times 18. That's the same, but you can't switch them around when it's division. 18 divided by y and y divided by 18 are two totally different things. And so even though you're adding 10 on both sides, your division is completely different. So that's why that's wrong. C, 12 minus y times 2 is the same thing as 12 minus 2 times y, because it is multiplication. Y times 2 is just 2y. And 2 times y is also 2y. They're the same. 10 minus 6 is 4. Then divide by y. Over here, you got to do the division first. 6 divided by y, and then take that away from 10. Those are not the same thing. If you want to check this easily, take an easy number like the number 1 and plug it in for your variable. So instead of y, I'm just going to plug in 1. So if y is 1, 12 minus 1 times 2 is the same thing as 12 minus 2 times 1. So if you're stuck, plug in an easy number like 1 for your variable in any of these problems and check and see if they're equivalent. And that'll help you find out. Okay? All right, I know I went out of order there. Sorry about that. But anyway, I covered 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And I covered 14, 15, and 16 tonight. So I went out of order, but I covered all those questions. So you should be able to be all the way at number 16 and check your progress so far. Guys, keep studying, and you'll do great on this DBA coming up. We'll see you in class.